it's me. I am here for the week, and I want to say the first thing for this video is that I am sorry that I am like 4-ish days late. I have been a few days late with every video that I put up, so what I'm going to start doing is do one video a week. I'm gonna make sure and promise you guys that I get one video up a week, and then if I can get another video or two up, then great, I'll get it up. But I think what's been happening is I've been so focused on trying to get a bunch of videos up that everything just kind of gets overwhelming and it doesn't happen. So I'm gonna promise you guys one video. So I do apologize for that, and I'm gonna make sure that this doesn't keep happening where I'm consistently late with these videos. This video is just going to be an update on what I've been reading this year and what I'm reading now. It is a little bit longer since I have half a year of reading to catch up on since I just started this channel, but let's just jump on into it with the first book here. And that first book I read is Learning to Swim by Ann Turner. It is a memoir about a woman who she's going back through her childhood when she went through a point where she was being sexually abused by a family member. It's a very quick read. It takes me about 45 minutes to read, if that. It's maybe 100 pages, maybe 10 to 12 lines per page, so it's a very quick. The book I read after that was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. At the same time I was reading that, I was reading Nicola Sparks' 2x2, which is his latest book out. I then finished Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children trilogy with Hollow City and Library of Souls. After that, I read The Watsons Go to Birmingham by Christopher Paul Curtis. We then have probably the biggest disappointment of this year, Lights Out by Ted Koppel. Completely misled you to what it was going to be about, so very big disappointment. In fact, I actually DNF'd it. Anyway, the next book we have is Chinese Cinderella by Adeline Yen Ma. That is another memoir. After Chinese Cinderella, I read another wonderful book, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. And then next came by Tracy Keeley, A Murder at Longbourn. 8,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini was next. And then my first ever manga that I ever read, Cage of Eden. The art and the storyline in Cage of Eden is by Yoshinobu Yamada. It was really good. I highly enjoyed it, so I'm thinking I'll go back and pick up a few manga and read, and we'll see what happens with that. I'll keep you updated on what manga I do read and if I actually like that form of reading. However, it is Tried by War by James M. McPherson, and it's about the Civil War. The next book I dove into was Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. And then I started rereading another amazing, it's The Lux novels by Jennifer L. Armentrout. It was just amazing. Like top 3 for me of my favorite series. The Lux novels consists of 5 main novels. That's Obsidian, Onyx, Opal, Origin, and Opposition. There's also 2 books that were they were written and like released and everything after the original series. The first book was Oblivion. That is considered the Lux novel 1.5, and then there's also Shadows that is considered 0.5, so it's like a prequel to the whole series. They're just completely phenomenal, and I feel like they're completely underrated. But we're not going to dwell on it too much because we got a whole bunch of books to go over yet. So let's just skip on to the next book, which is the Hardy Boys #1, The Tower Treasure. I used to have all the Hardy Boys books, which was a lot because I think there's 66 books. But I loved them as a child. I also read Under the Dome by Stephen King. That was one of my Valentine's Day presents from my fiance. It was amazing. Like, probably one of my favorite Stephen King books ever. It was phenomenal. I then picked up the Grimm's Fairy Tales and read them. There are so many amazing ones in there. It's just, I love me a good fairy tale. So I really enjoyed reading that. Another one of my favorite books that I've read so far this year, this was a newer book to me, one that I did not reread. It was by Benjamin Alaire Sáenz, which I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong. I'm really not completely sure on the pronunciation. But he wrote Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, and it blew me away. I'd probably have to say it's like tied for my favorite book I've read this year. It was amazing. It got 5 out of 5 stars for me. It was a little slow when you're reading it at first, but then the ending just like blows you away and everything makes sense, and it was just great. So if you haven't read it, you definitely should. It was amazing. I'm gonna stop saying it was amazing because I think I've said that like 5 times. So let's move on. The next book I read was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I am ashamed, very, very ashamed to say this, but I had never read Harry Potter until like this year. When I read it, I had always wanted to read it, but it always happened that I was reading another book and just didn't get to it. And I watched the movies and loved them, so I've always been like a Harry Potter fan, but not like a fan because I never read them. But I finally read it this year and I'm obsessed. Like, I can't even describe. I got myself into such a reading slump afterwards because all I wanted to do was go back and reread it over and over and over, which is honestly why I'm a little behind schedule with my reading challenge. I planned to be over 50 books by now, but I'm not, because there was like a month where I couldn't read because all I did for that month was reread Harry Potter and watch the movies. So there, that weight is lifted off my shoulders that I have just now only started being a true Harry Potter fan. By the way, Ravenclaw pride. After Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, I read The Inexplicable Logic of My Life, also by Benjamin Alire-Sáenz, and also, again, amazing book. I think he is a wonderful author. I then picked up Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Caravel by Stephanie Garber. I was reading that at the same time I was reading The Chamber of Secrets, so that's why Harry Potter is like broken up. But after Caravel, I finished off the Harry Potter series with Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and Deathly Hallows. And of course, Harry Potter is by J.K. Rowling. Another series I never read as a child slash young adult, well, I'm a young adult now, so let's say child slash teenager, I guess, was the Percy Jackson series. And since I was in this reading slump, I was talking to one of my friends about how I could not get into anything. I was trying and trying and trying, and I just couldn't because I just wanted to read Harry Potter. Well, they recommended the Percy Jackson series, so I read it and it was really great. I highly, highly enjoyed it. The series is by Rick Riordan. It consists of, it is The Lightning Thief, The Sea of Monsters, Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian. I believe that is the correct order. There's 5 books in that series. After that, I was still kind of in a slump, so I decided to go back and reread some other older books that I always enjoyed to try and get me back into my groove. And I read the Hex Hall series by Rachel Hawkins. The Hex Hall series includes the first book, which is Hex Hall, followed by Demon Glass, followed by Spellbound. I then picked up The Program by Suzanne Collins. That was my birthday present, and I picked it up and I was out of my slump. I was completely out of my whole Harry Potter every day, all day. Like, it was amazing. Like, it was a phenomenal book. And teen suicide is considered an epidemic now. So there's this program that if you are showing signs of depression, they whisk you away and cure you of the illness so that you don't kill yourself. And that is a series, actually. And the next book I read was the second book to that series, and it is The Treatment, and it breaks my heart, but I DNF'd it. I was going between loving the book, loving the characters, loving the fighting spirit that they had against getting the program taken care of, because it wasn't working. It was stripping these people of their memories, but they could just fall right back into the illness. So there is a small rebellion trying to form against it. But it just went between loving it to hating it because it made me so angry what was happening. But then it also were points, and this is kind of the main reason I DNF'd it. There were points where I almost felt like it glorified suicide, and that's just not okay with me. So it was just hard for me to keep going through at these points where it was basically saying that killing yourself is better. and I just put it on my bookshelf and I couldn't do it. I was like, you know what? I got to the point where I was like, I'm done with the series. But I'm going to try and pick it up again. I'm gonna try and make it through the series. Maybe I'm just taking it wrong. Maybe I'm just seeing it as glorifying suicide. I don't know. But hopefully we can get through it, and hopefully it's continues to be a decent series, because I really enjoyed the first book. And the last book that I finished, I actually have never heard of before. I don't know how old or new it is. So I picked up Adorkable, and by picked it up I mean I picked my phone up and I opened it up, and it was great. I read it in a day. The author is Cookie O'Gorman, I think. Yeah, Cookie O'Gorman. It was just a nice, fluffy... Yeah, it was great. It was very, very fluffy though. It was kind of cliche, but in a good way. But it was great. I don't have any complaints about it. So yeah, that is the books I've read so far this year. I highly enjoyed all of them. Except I think the one about, you know, the lights out one, whatever that crap was. I really did enjoy all of them. And I'm really looking forward to some of the books that are coming this year for me to read. But we'll get to that in a second. I want to get to what I'm currently reading. And what I'm currently reading is The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. And I'm about 93 pages in. And I'm not sure what to think. So when I first got it, I was very excited because, like I said, the light needs to be brought to subjects like this. However, I'm not sure how I feel about this book, but as I'm reading it, I'm very apprehensive about it. I don't know if this is what Angie Thomas was going for, but everything is too stereotypical for me. Like, the book seems so racist to me, and I don't know if that's what she was going for. I understand that she is trying to bring light to the subject of racism, so there are going to be racist characters in here. I get that. But all the main characters have blatant stereotypes about them, and I think that's what we have to avoid. So far, there is an African-American family, and the dad was a drug dealer that went to jail. His daughter, the main character Star, her brother, it's her brother through her father. So her brother, when he's over at his mom's house, deals with his mom and his mom's boyfriend. It's an African-American man that beats his wife and children. And there's another character, the character that gets shot in the book that brings the police brutality into it. His mother, an African-American woman that is on drugs. Like, I understand that there has to be racism in here for people to be made aware about how severe the problem is, but it almost seems just the character stereotyping is almost too much for me. I don't know. I don't want to say too much because I am only 93 pages in, but that's the vibes I'm getting from it. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully once I get into it, I understand more why she's writing it that way. But it's almost making me a little angry at this point reading it. But we'll see, and we'll have a video and a discussion on that when I'm done. So that is what I'm currently reading. As for what I'll be reading, I'm really not sure. I'm in kind of a retelling mood. So after I'm done with The Hate U Give, I think I'm going to read Hunted by Meagan Spooner. That is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I also want to read Queen of Hearts, which is an Alice in Wonderland retelling. I don't know the author offhand, but I'll put that down below, along with the author for Never Never. I think the author for Never Never is Brianna Shrum, and that is a Peter Pan retelling. But I will definitely put it down there just to make sure, because I don't have the books right in front of me here. And I also want to read Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. And I also have a book called Brazen, and that is by Kathleen Longshore. So there's a few books that are going to be in the mix here real soon. I don't know how soon. yeah, I think that's it today, and thank you so much for watching. Wanted to get that in there. I hope you guys do enjoy the videos I put up. I am trying to get better with this whole thing, so for those of you who do keep watching, because every video I put up there are consistently about the same amount of people watching, so thank you, and I hope I see you again next week with my video.